Okay, great. Thanks everyone again, and we will be joined today by three guests with three presentations to get thoughts and feedback from you all as we look to advance the work of the West Southwest in the 63rd and Halsted corridor. Our first guests are from CDOT, our Department of Transportation. They'll be sharing a very brief overview of an upcoming streetscape project that is aligned with the Invest Southwest process and initiative. So they'll kick us off with a very quick introduction, and as they'll present, there will be more to come on their project, much more to come on their project in the future. After CDOT's presentation, we'll be joined by the Englewood Connect team. You saw them all present last month on their current kind of status for the Englewood Connect development at the Englewood Square Phase 2 site. And they have more to share now as a little bit more time has passed and a little bit more to share about what lies ahead for their engagement and their project. And then finally, we'll have Eric Hotchkiss, who is our artist in residence, our DCASE/DPD artist in residence for the 63rd and Halsted corridor. Eric will be sharing with us his engagement plan and process for the next few months as that initiative continues to roll out. So packed agenda, but I think we'll be able to get to everything in the time allotted. And then of course, happy to have any other discussion at the end of that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Luca Banak with CDOT, who can kick off discussion of the streetscape project.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Luke. Thanks for having us here today. My name is Lupka Benak. I'm director of Chicago Department of Transportation's Livable Streets program. And with me today is also Camille Applewhite, project manager. If you want to say hi, Camille.
Hi, everyone. I'll be the PM for the Inglewood corridor, and I'm really excited to be here.
Luke, did you want to start the presentation, the 5 slides that we have to show today when you get a chance?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Unmuted, but yeah, I'm happy to bring that up. Otherwise, yeah, I can do that. Or Camille, if you have it, you're welcome to share it, but let's see who gets there first. I can get it up as well.
Let me know what you need.
Oh, sorry. Give me one moment. Sorry, everyone.
Do you want me to share it?
Wouldn't be a Zoom call. If you have it ready to go, why don't you go ahead?
Hold on, hopefully. Oh, do you have it? Okay. Can everyone see?
Yeah, it's showing up. We might want to go full screen. It looks like that isn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to click on slideshow. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
There we go. Okay. All good? Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, actually, could you, sorry, Luke, at the very top, if you go to display settings and do switch, what does it say? Swap. Yeah. Because I think we're seeing yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, you see. Okay, great. Sorry. So we're really excited to be here to announce the Streetscape project in line with the Invest Southwest corridor, Greater Englewood. The Streetscape project will be on 63rd Street between Loomis and Wallace, and Halsted between 59th Street and 66th Street. It supports the Invest Southwest initiative to reactivate neighborhood cores that have historically served as focal points for pedestrian activity, shopping, services, transportation, public spaces, and quality of life amenities for residents. It's part of Chicago Works, Mayor Lori Lightfoot's 5-year capital plan that will invest in the communities through infrastructure. And the Streetscape project consists of infrastructure pedestrian safety, and placemaking improvements with the goal of creating a unified, safe, walkable, and attractive street. The streetscape project is comprehensive and that will do improvements between building face and building face. So anything within the public right of way, all the sidewalks, all the street, all of the lighting will be improved with the project. And the project in general includes a public outreach component, placemaking and urban design strategy, the concept design and engineering, the detailed design engineering, and then eventually the construction of the corridor. So here are the project limits as said before, 63rd Street Loomis to Wallace and Halsted 59th Street to 66th Street. So it overlaps the Invest Southwest corridor. And the scope of improvements includes looking at the roadway geometry. So looking at how wide the sidewalks are, do we need to widen those sidewalks, how wide those travel lanes are, figuring out the cross section across the roadway, as well as intersection improvements. What can we do to make the intersections safer for pedestrians, improve traffic flow, and slow traffic down? Full width resurfacing. We'll look at doing drainage improvements. So seeing where there's standing water or ponding water, where we need to improve the grading so that water flows properly along the street. New sidewalk, curb and gutter. We'll look at doing curb extensions to shorten those pedestrian crossings to make the corridor safer for pedestrians. ADA ramps and crosswalks. We'll continue the street lighting. Some of the street lighting at the intersection of 63rd and Halsted had previously been done. We'll look at it, continuing it along the corridor. We'll look at improving the traffic signals where needed. And then all new pavement markings and signage. We're also looking at enhancing the sidewalk area. So looking at installing paver parkways and installing trees where room allows. Also extending these improvements on the side streets up to the alley. And then also creating seating areas or community gathering spaces with addition of site furniture. We will look at doing community identifiers in the form of light pole identifiers. So these are permanent metal banners that hang on the light pole, and or also vertical gateway identifiers, which will be placed in the sidewalk, and it welcome to Englewood or welcome to Halsted Street, just welcoming folks to the corridor, as well as creating an identity for the corridor. And then tree planting is mentioned, potential landscaping. Is there opportunity to do in-ground planters or planter pots along the corridor? What would that look like? Is there capacity to maintain that? So having discussions on what that's going to look like along the corridor. And then also looking at renovating the Englewood Plaza, or the plaza across from the Whole Foods. It's been a while since that plaza has seen improvement. So looking at making that a focal point. This is just a quick slide just to show some of the elements that we'll be looking at doing. So again, mentioned paver parkways, bike racks or various community identifiers, trash receptacles, and safety upgrades such as here in the right-hand corner with the pedestrian countdown timers, installing new crosswalks, street trees and above ground planter pots. The yellow Auburn Gresham identifier is a light pole identifier on 79th Street. So looking to do something similar for the light poles, seating throughout the corridor, curb extensions and or bump outs as they're called, ADA ramps and lighting. And we'll be having discussions with the roundtable and the public at large about all of this in the months to come. And so wanted to just show estimated project timeline for the next couple of years here. So in April, we had our aldermanic meetings. Now it's in May. We're attending the Invest Southwest Roundtable meetings, announcing the project, kicking it off. We'll be starting the corridor concept design, and it will last between about May and December of 2021. This will include public outreach, so we'll have public meetings. We'll be attending more of these Invest Southwest Roundtables. There will be a series of public preference surveys as well. We're starting the existing conditions analysis and topographic survey. So you may see some folks along the corridor doing survey work as we take takeoffs for our construction documents. We'll also be doing utility coordination, so making sure we're coordinating with all utilities, that work is done in advance of our streetscape project. And developing the concept. What does that cross section look like? What does the aesthetics of the corridor look like? And then in November of 2021 through June 2022, we'll really be doing the detailed design of that plan and creating construction documents so that we can bid it for construction. And that construction will take place under two sections. So we'll have two sections of construction. The limits of each section will be determined.
I'll receive your request.
Okay, sorry. The construction limits of each of the section is yet to be determined. We'll be determining that through this process. And the first section is anticipated to start construction November of 2022. And why that's in construction, we'll then move on to the second construction segment of the corridor and do the detailed design of that, bid that for a construction award, and then start that in 2023. So this is our first kind of kickoff with the community. As we mentioned, we will be coming out with public meetings and other Invest Southwest Corridor meetings. So we want you to keep a lookout. Early this summer, we plan on having our first larger public meeting. And that is our last slide.
Great. Thank you, Luca. I know, as I mentioned, we've got a couple other presentations waiting in the wings, but I do want to pause there and see if there's any questions or comments for the CDOT team in advance of their continued engagement with this group and with the broader stakeholder community. Yeah, Bruce, go ahead. I see you've got a hand raised.
Yeah, yes, my question is, when CDOT undertakes these various focused community activities, does it have a process of trying to make sure that some of the actual work that's done on the project, either design or construction work, is sourced as locally as it could be? So perhaps in a $20 million project, a considerable portion of that work could be done by area suppliers, procurement in that particular area where the work is being done.
So for construction, we will have a ordinance clause within that construction that 7.5% of the hours of construction have to go to local hiring based on a community area defined by us. So we would then make sure that Greater Englewood is defined as the community area, and then that 7.5% of the local hours need to come from that community area. And we could definitely work as we progress through this design, work with the community on helping make those connections even more with our procurement department.
Yes, my question is beyond labor, but into the actual supplying of goods and services that may be part of the things that are to be installed. And again, trying to say that one of the potential great opportunities of the Invest Southwest program is to make sure that the committed capital, taxpayer money that's going to fund these efforts are redeployed in sustainable job creating activities. So not just the labor temporary work, but if small businesses and service providers could be a part of that effort, that would be a great lift for these things to not just go on, but to really have a focused impact on the communities they're designed to uplift.
Yes, so I think we should continue having that conversation just to see what are the opportunities, what are the ways that we can help create that, and bringing in other folks that do the procurement for the city to maybe assist us with creating that path.
I think that would be well advised, and to break down the product scope and budgets to see what component areas might even be cause for businesses to be generated in these areas, because this may give them a kickstart to supply these products and services on this project. And then maybe there's an adjacent community here, Auburn Gresham, that's not that far away, and perhaps there's enough work on the radar over the next 2 to 3 to 5 years that could create very significant business opportunities for Englewood area businesses to move into some of the spaces that are required for the, I was looking at some of that kind of paving work, and those machines that do those are affordable, and organizations could look at that. And so a lot of opportunity that I see in the design. And then one quick question about the design. I couldn't really tell from the map how far east it went, but hopefully in the community discussions, the conversation of both the eastern boundary and the western boundary could be, it seems like it goes back just about to the train track. And if that's the case, that would be very nice, because that includes a commercial area going east. It says to Wallace, but
to Wallace,
yes,
beyond Wallace. Okay.
But I'm assuming that dark line there might be the rail track, and there's a nice archway there for that train track, and so that would be a great kind of, if it went all the way back there, that would be very nice.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Bruce.
Get ready, it's time.
Sorry, is there another comment or question? Okay. Well, with that, Luca, thank you so much for sharing. As Luca mentioned, there will be a meaningful and kind of robust engagement process to be rolled out as part of this project. And Luca and the team will of course come back and join us at this roundtable throughout the process to share with you all that process. So thank you, Luca. Thank you, Camille. And excited to hear more as that unfolds.
Thank you, Luke.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Great. Well, not to move us too quickly, but I know that was just kind of a quick first glance. Again, a lot more to come on the CDOT work. Really just a first look. But with that, I would love to turn it over to the Englewood Connect team, who is on with us to share the status of the RFP, the winning RFP proposal, and where they are in that process. So I believe I saw Zeb McLaurin on. Zeb, are you here?
I am here. Hello, Luke.
Great.
Hi.
Hi, Zeb. And I see Tiara as well. Great.
Tiara's here. Gaylord Burnett from our firm is here as well. And then we have one of our other team members, Ronnie Jackson from Jacked IMC, who's going to talk a little bit more about our internet and social strategy later on. But I'll just, hello, everyone. Nice to be with you again. This is our second or third time with this group, so it's great to continue to be engaged with you as we make progress. And I won't take any more time. I'll turn the screen over to Tiara so she can update you on where we are.
Yes, always a pleasure to connect with this group. We're super excited to update you and let you know where we are. I'm just gonna share screen here. Can you guys see this? Is that good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that looks good.
Perfect. So our agenda is pretty brief today. We're just gonna, I think you all met who's actually on the team, but we'll just remind you of who's a part of our team, our project narrative. We'll go through some phasing because there's been some adjustments from the last call you saw or you attended, and then we'll talk about the timeline and then our engagement with you all. And we'll wrap up at the end with questions. First and foremost, our team, just a quick reminder here, we've listed everyone out in the kind of the categories they fall within, but a huge emphasis on minority participation, MBE and WBE led firms. And we were very intentional about this because we want this team to reflect the Englewood community. And so we've reached far and wide to bring together a group, again, that's really passionate about this work and transforming this area of Englewood, which also, I did not know what CDOT was going to present last. And that's really exciting that it sounds like our project will connect a lot into what CDOT is doing, which is awesome. The project narrative here. So you guys are already very familiar with this, but again, we intend to leverage all of the assets surrounding the community. Here's a quick snapshot of our boundary here around the site that you see. Again, with those assets surrounding the community, you know, Kennedy King, Washburn, Whole Foods, we intend to kind of just tie back into all of that with the concept that we've created. And of course, that looks like a lot of different purposes and designs centered around this boulevard here we're calling the Commons. For those of you who have not seen the design yet. And what that looks like for us programmatically is a culinary center for the renovation of the existing firehouse on site. Also having hoop houses and, I think I'm getting, okay. Some hoop houses, the Englewood living room, and we'll speak more to this with the phasing, but again, just having this kind of organic space for all of the residents of Englewood to have as a place to go to for whatever your needs are. So if you need lecturing that day, if you just need a place to hang out, if you need a cooking class or just a kitchen for a vendor for an event, this really will be your go-to place for all of your needs. And of course, for us, it really is about saving this landmark that's here on site. I've had a chance to come to the site and see it's in beautiful, beautiful shape, which we're really excited about. And I can speak more to that. But of course, working with Chicago Landmarks, working with the commission to make sure that we are keeping this structure intact as much as possible during this renovation process. And then of course, you've seen this already, but for us, it's really about bringing spectacular design to this community, to Englewood. You've seen it here already, but we're working now into the phases of understanding the materials a lot more to again, deliver and keep design at the forefront for what we're delivering. And then of course, for this one, you guys have seen a site already overhead, but seeing that transformation and what the space will look like once it's complete is really exciting. There's obviously the land to the north that the design of this is enabling it to tie into, but there's also the existing Whole Foods parking lot and Plaza that it sounds like CDOT is going to do a ton of work to tie into. And so this development is situated perfectly for all of the work coming. And then of course, I mentioned already with materials, the biggest thing I'll highlight is that we are looking into locally sourcing. We are looking into the quality and durability of the materials and also the maintenance. We don't want to bring something that requires extensive maintenance and care throughout time. We want something that's very durable and timeless for the design. So that's really where we are with materials. And then the last update we have design-wise is our visit to the Firehouse. Super, super exciting stuff. You can see here from the photos, there's a lot of just really beautiful glazed brick throughout the building and the exterior walls. And we have decided unanimously as a team that we will not be tearing those walls down we will be trying our best to maintain them. So it's going to bring us back to the drawing board to play chess a little bit with the floor plan and how we'll make all of this work. But for us, I mean, you guys see it on the screen. It is an absolute beauty right now, as is. And a lot of the peeling that you guys see, there was some lead paint, but also there's plaster on the ceilings that we obviously won't be able to save that stuff, but the glazed brick, I mean, and the arches, it's absolutely gorgeous. So a lot of work for the team to figure out moving forward, but a solid foundation for us to move forward with. And so now transitioning into the project phasing, I'll try to speed up a little bit here. The biggest change that you guys will see from where we were with phasing last time is the Inglewood living room. So I don't know, can you see my mouse? The Inglewood living room, which is this building, you've seen it in all of the renderings, it's going to be added to the end of phase one. And so phase one now looks like the renovation of the firehouse, all of the land around the firehouse, including this parking lot, and then the Inglewood living room building following. So a little bit of a change with the phasing, but we feel like this boulevard will be anchored at both ends. So it'll still be a place that people can come and gather and utilize while the rest of the phases are happening. And this is a quick snapshot of that in plan for your viewing. But again, and you don't see the addition here, so you can see the firehouse and the parking lot is really the first phase, or the first portion of phase one. This boulevard known as the Commons is the second portion of phase one, and then the living room will be the last portion of phase one, followed by phase 2 and 3. And then the project timeline, we are moving along here. So we've had several moments to connect with you guys, and Alderman Coleman has just been a blessing and super willing to connect. And I know her and Zeb have had several conversations. I also have seen her a couple times in the community. So you guys have been just super great to connect with, and we intend to continue that momentum and continue connecting back. But right now, we're still in the engagement phase. We're still designing. Design is intended for phase one to wrap up at the end of the year with construction starting. And we're also continuing the entitlement process and working with the city for procurement. Then lastly, and I mentioned this already a little bit before the engagement, for us, it's really about leveraging all of the previous work that you guys have done. There's a ton out there, and we have been engrossed in just better understanding what your needs are according to these publications and these studies that you've already done. And then of course, with the goals of Invest Southwest in the city, and just really making sure our development and this beautiful design and structure that we're bringing to the area will align with both the Inglewood and the city's needs. And so for us, this is a very short list. So if you're not mentioned, this was literally just a list that we started with. But you can see with all the logos and the names, it is all centered around Alderman Coleman and her constituents, and making sure that we are connecting with her first. And she has been, again, gracious enough to lead us in the direction of which community groups that we need to be connecting with, and her team, of course. And so for us, this was the list to start with. We have been building upon that. And then our engagement strategy, in addition to connecting with Alderman Coleman, also all of the other 5 aldermen that touch this area, the monthly roundtables, which obviously we're here today, walking tours of the community, having some pop-up events as well. And what we're learning with the site visits is it may not be safe right now and as is conditions for it to be on site. So if that is the case, it'll definitely be somewhere nearby the site that we can still be visible to the community and interact with you guys. And then of course, having that interaction there as well, whether it's chalkboards or sticky notes or just the component where you guys can give us feedback. And then your community events. I really am pausing here to highlight this. You can see in the photos, this is the Inglewood Unity Day that happened recently. I was fortunate enough to attend this. Again, I ran into Alderman Coleman there. And this was such a great effort. I cleaned up several streets with some friends. You can see me there with the buckets. There's some bucket gardens that Miss Deborah works on and gives out to the community. So I'll be reconnecting with her to help with the next phases of that. And then again, organically getting to know the community. You guys really emphasized that on our last call, and that's really what we've been trying to do. We would have had more team members out to the beautification day, but there was a lot of travel happening at that time. So we'll be sure to have a larger team out to future events. And then the last thing here was the jobs and hiring for the construction, but also for long-term. And so I'll quickly just put this on the screen as a quick reminder. We do intend to bring 100+ construction jobs from this project, and then 30 to 47 full-time jobs that will be full-time once we're finished. And then another quick, Zeb already mentioned this. We'll have Franny take the screen in a second to illustrate the website, but it is live. We're super excited. So this will also be a place in between us touching base with you for physical engagement in person and on these Zoom calls. There will also be moments for you to connect with us through the website and send any of your questions and inquiries. And then I will turn it over here. We did bring a few questions for you all. And the biggest one here is, did we miss anything? And are there upcoming events that we need to note? And with that, I will stop sharing and turn it over.
Great, thank you, Tiara, for that update. Yeah, let's take a minute here and see if there's any questions or comments from the group. Again, I know a lot of that was a refresher from last month, but some new advances there, and excited to see the website as well. But let's take a minute and see if there's any comments or questions from folks on the roundtable. Feel free to just chime in or throw a hand up and I'll try to call on you, but otherwise just feel free to unmute and ask away. All right. Well, why don't we, Tiara, if that makes sense, if we want to throw up the website, we can take a look at that and folks can maybe think of any additional questions or comments that they might have.
Okay, and Zeb, if you don't mind, Ronnie is going to then direct us through the website. If
Oh, perfect.
You could release to her, please.
Yes. I don't think I've done anything to let anyone else share. So Ronnie, you should.
I think I should be able to share.
Okay.
So
Okay.
give it a shot. So my name is Ronnie Jackson. I'm with Jack IMC. It's a marketing agency, and we've been retained to support the Englewood Connect community team members to help build out the website and some of their graphic images. So what I'm going to share with you today is a website that is still a work in progress. It can go live sometime within the next week. We just need a few more tweaks to it, but wanted to share with you where we are so far and find out if you had any questions or suggestions that we could use to make it even better. So if I am able to share my screen and you can see it. Yes. All right, great.
Yep.
Inglewood Connect at this point doesn't actually have a logo yet. So that is one of the things that we're going to be working on, kind of branding the identity of Inglewood Connect. What we have done is created our homepage, and this is a lot of the beautiful imagery that Tiara was sharing in her presentation. So imagine taking that entire deck and putting it and condensing it into a site that is readable and able to be absorbed by everyone. So Inglewood Connect's designed to have an impact starting day one. We've got imagery here on a lot of the elements that are going to be beneficial for the community. We also have pictures, images, thoughts. And one of the most important parts in terms of creating this website was these gray buttons, which is our way of connecting with the community. So every time you see a page, you actually see one of these gray buttons, and these will be the questions that Tiara was asking you. So click what you want to see in Inglewood Connect. If the user were to connect this button, it takes you directly to a form where there is a person who will be manning this form and responding within 24 to 48 hours to talk about making Inglewood Connect work. So then in that case, it is questions on, sorry. You know, it never works exactly when you want it to, right? So there'll be questions on the form about the types of businesses that you want to have inside the community. In the About Us section, a little bit of information about the development, and then a quote from the mayor. The team, these are all of the development partners that are involved in the Inglewood Connect development right now, including developers, the design team, legal, construction, consultants, and then partners who we have so far, Alderman Coleman. I think we need a high-res image of you to make it look really spectacular. So if we can get one of those, that would be awesome. Some copy that is on hold. And then also additional community partners that we'll be working with will be populated here in the second space. And then finally, the future of Inglewood Connect. And this is images, photos, happenings, things that are going to be up and coming for the project. And then finally, again, when you share your thoughts, a form that will be here that will list out questions that we want from the community and for them to engage in. Any questions?
Questions, thoughts? And obviously, I want to reiterate, this is the website, as we've discussed in previous meetings with not just the roundtable, but some of the smaller other stakeholders that we've been engaged with, is not certainly our only point of contact, but certainly given the diversity of the Inglewood community from an age demographic perspective specifically, this is just one of the tools. We certainly wanted to be one of the most robust ones to complement the pop-ups, to complement our coffees and teas in the senior facilities, to complement our normal engagement throughout the summer in the normal Inglewood activities. And so the website obviously is the face of who we are in absence of us being there. And we want the community to own the website as well, and to use it as an interactive component of the project to provide us feedback and provide us insight to other happenings in Inglewood.
Yeah, thank you, Zeb and Ronnie, for presenting that. Would love to hear if there are any questions. Obviously, again, that's going to be a great tool. It will be at inglewoodconnect.com. It's not there yet, but that's where it will be. And forgive me, Zeb, can you give us?
There's a question in the chat from Susan Ellis. She says, will there be any banking features or financial literacy classes available? And I can take that one. Susan, one of the later phases of the design, we was the like business incubation component. It's in phase 2. There is where local businesses will be able to plug in, including this financial literacy piece that you're mentioning. If that is something that the community wants to see, we certainly want to hear, and if we can craft, kind of the spaces and find the appropriate occupants for that business incubation center. You're welcome.
Great. Great. Well, I do know we've got a lot more to come. You know, we're really, for as many times as we've had Zeb and Tiara and the team here, we're still at the very early stages. As Tiara noted, we're, you know, the team is still working on the design. We're still working through, you know, assorted city processes that get development to move forward. So, you know, a lot more to come from this group, both in this setting, in other kind of small group engagement settings, and virtually through the Englewood Connect website. So if there aren't any more questions, and feel free to drop questions in the chat, and we can try to answer them that way. But with that, I will thank the Englewood Connect team, Zeb and Tiara and Ronnie, and who did I miss?
Gaylord is on.
And Gaylord, yes, thank you. Okay, I knew I had 4 folks. Zeb, was there something else to close?
Yeah, I see Aisha asked in the chat, when will we launch? We hope to launch within the next week or so. We certainly I need to circle back with the alderman specifically to tighten up some of the text specifically around the Englewood community, as well as Rage also regarding our primary stakeholder organization in Englewood. So let me, and then that's on our agenda for the remainder of this week and next, but it is our goal to go live sometime next week after the holiday.
Great, great. All right, well, looking forward to it. And thank you again to the Englewood Connect team.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right. Well, we're moving right along. So I will now ask Eric Hotchkiss, who has introduced himself, I think, at a previous roundtable a couple of months ago. He is the Inglewood Artist in Residence, which, as a reminder, was a program launched in partnership between DCASE, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, and DPD. And so, Eric, I know you are known to many on this call, and you made yourself known to many others at a previous call, but would love to turn it over to you to reintroduce yourself and to let folks know what you've been working on and what you will be working on come this summer.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to share my screen now. Just make sure everyone can see it. Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Eric Hotchkiss. I'm the Englewood Artist in Residence. I do want to make sure I make it clear the artist in residence for all of Englewood. And I want to talk about some of the things that I'm kind of working on right now. So before I was named Englewood Artist in Residence, some of you know me, some of you may not know me. But one of the projects I was working on was with Grow Greater Englewood. And well, let me stop saying Grow Greater Englewood. All the partners on the Englewood Nature Trail, which if you know is that elevated line between 58th and 59th Street. One of the things we're focusing on right now is the Englewood Village Plaza. And this is a part of the Architecture Biennial this year. And so while this will be a part of my Invest Art West project, it is a small part, right? Because like I want to say that I am a artist in residence for all of Englewood. And also that I'm going to talk about one of the things I have to do is I am expected to make a capstone project. I'm not going to talk about that today because while I have my ideas, what I think is great for Englewood, I am one person and I want to make sure, I want to talk about my engagement plan to make sure I'm reaching all of Englewood. And I'm not doing a me plan, I'm doing a us plan, right? So I want to talk about what the engagement plan is and what the engagement model looks like. So we have great organizations, right? Englewood is known for our outreach. We do outreach. I mean, we're a community, we know each other. And a lot of times that outreach is kind of placed on some of our community partners who do it greatly, right? Probably better than me. So thinking about Mad Englewood F and Rage. And I was thinking about how I can be more additive to this engagement process. So also in terms of being representing all of Englewood, not just a small part, is while we have this roundtable meeting, we all know there are lots of people who don't necessarily come to these meetings, probably won't never go on the website and fill out our forms. So what I'm doing is what I call pull-ups. So community pull-ups. So this is, I'm gonna be doing 10 of these throughout the summer. And this is me pulling up with a table and food. All the food is provided by Englewood restaurants, caterers, etc. but pulling up and having a conversation with community leaders. When I say community leaders, we all know on Fridays, Saturday, and Sundays, there's a person on each block who's out there cleaning up, right? Or they're just out there all day, and engaging those people, those residents, and pulling up with food and having a conversation about the things that maybe I have an idea what I want to do in Englewood, but also some of the things coming to Englewood in terms of processes like this Englewood Invest Southwest Roundtable, just to make sure everyone is aware of what's going on. So, like I said, there will be 10 of these pull-ups this summer. They'll all be catered by Englewood restaurants, chefs, caterers, etc. Preference will be towards those not previously engaged in the Englewood Roundtable. Again, you all are great, and I hope you all understand, but I'm able to reach out to you. A lot of you I've reached out to already, but I really want to engage those residents who do not attend these types of meetings and get their feedback. But also this idea, this is not to be subtractive, but additive, right? So when I come to our residents and I ask questions, I am subtracting information, right? So what can I add to this to make this more of like a communal type of meeting, a fair exchange, right? The idea is I show up with food, I have my different ways of engagement. So, but we're basically showing up and having a real conversations. We all know we have lots of, and our best conversations around food. But that is really targeted towards an older audience, right? If we think about the demographic in Englewood, there's also a large youth component to Englewood who's not necessarily being engaged in these conversations, at least these roundtables. So something else I'll be implementing is called the Inglewood Youth Design Council. This name will be changed because it's a long name. But it is a way of bringing in Englewood youth or young adults into this conversation. So this is basically a paid internship for 8 Englewood young adults, where we will talk about policy, we'll talk about design, and we'll really talk about what is needed here in our greater Englewood. But again, this is also a way of engagement, right? Because I am not a young adult anymore, and I really want to get their information and their decision-making a part of this process. But also be able to have a way to bring them into the conversation. So this will start June 28th. I'm going to put this link in the chat. There's a form in case anyone wants to reach out. Let me find the chat. I'm just launching this today, but I'll be reaching out several different ways to get youth involved. So we will be meeting on Mondays and Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 6:30. This is done because I know a lot of youth have other jobs, especially with after school matters, things like that starting up. So I don't want to take away from that. But 17 to 21, so it's be paid in terms of 2 $500 stipends that equates to $20 per hour. These will be primarily occurring through Zoom. That may change as we are opening up, but the goals are focusing, so teaching, but also working on research and empathy, design policy, community engagement, placemaking, but more importantly, placekeeping. As you know, I think all of us have an idea about what we want here in Englewood and what was here in Englewood. So that's why I want to stress placekeeping. So that will start June 28th and run through August 26th. So it's 10 weeks. Also, if you know me, you know that I am an introvert. So in terms of engagement processes, I really like to make stuff. But also I find by making stuff, that's my way of engaging with people. So I'm also, part of my engagement policies is called Tactical Urbanism Pop-ups. So these are just kind of prototypes of pop-ups. It's a way for us to, when I say us, meaning everyone who's involved in the pull-ups, everyone involved in the Englewood Youth Design Council, to kind of test out these ideas of what we think will work, right? Because I think we all think what we want works in Englewood. We never know until we make it and see if people come out, right? So we don't know if people really want like a place to sit and read books or whatever. So the idea is to make 3 of these pop-ups and place them. One will be on the Englewood line, but also the other 2 will be throughout Englewood, right? So really putting these designs, as we're focusing a lot on the 633 corridor, what happens to these other places throughout our community of Englewood, and how can we highlight those? So it will prioritize areas and spaces that are determined via the pull-ups and engagement efforts of the Englewood Youth Council. So, and I've been already asking around and kind of asking what people might want, right? So these are ideas, but we never know until we test it out, right? Some people might say we want a basketball. I know we had a really beautiful one right there on 60th and Halsted and maybe I can have a little bit of work. But before we do that, let's test it out, right? Let's have youth make basketball rims and see what they really want it to look like. So this is something I've been doing already, where I've been making basketball rims and having youth kind of do the artwork on it. But let's put it up and see what it looks like before we invest a lot of money into it. Again, because I do have a capstone project, but I want to make sure it's actually going to be used. Do we want spaces for us to sit down and eat in front of our quote unquote restaurant? Y'all know up and down 63rd Street, starting around right now, there are like 4 barbecue places starting from Halsted all the way to Morgan, right? And then on Racine, there's tons of people barbecuing, selling food too. But do we want these little outdoor spaces to sit and eat, right? Have communal spaces. Do we want, as we turn this down, do we need more sculpture, right? So as you all know, so something that Grow Greater Inglewood is doing in partnership with the Wider Wakes program project is we're bringing a Hank Willis Thomas sculpture to 58th and Halsted. But I would like to think, at least this is me just kind of talking about myself, that this little sculpture I did over on 58th and Halsted, which is the Inglewood Proud sculpture, helped us determine that maybe a sculpture should go there. I know it's not true, that's what I tell myself. But do we want leisure spaces? Do we want spaces just to sit and play dominoes and play spades, right? Is that something we want? Do we want tap? So Brenda, I'm forgetting Brenda's last name, but Brenda teaches tap at a couple places throughout Inglewood. Is this something that will be effective in Inglewood, right? Just having like these tap squares, I got introduced to this last week. Or do we want spaces for stepping and JB skating, right? I think we all will say yes, but we never know until we put something out there and test it out. So the idea is to test out these things, and that would be my level of engagement, to put something out there and see if people really use it. But these will be kind of prototypes in small scale. So just to kind of go over all this, the pull-ups will start, be bi-monthly, and they'll run from May 28th to September 5th. Actually, I need to change that. I cannot get this done by May 28th. So June 20th, let's say that. Inglewood Youth Council will start June 28th to August 26th, and the tactical urbanism projects will start being implemented June 15th to August 15th and September 15th. So 1 per month. It just gives me time to build them. So I just want to blaze through that really quickly because I just want to have questions from you all. So I said a lot, but again, this isn't a me project. I'm an artist. I like to make, I know what I want to make. This is an us project. So I really want to get some feedback from you all. So here is my email address. Here's my number. And I have a website, which isn't activated yet. Probably will be activated for 2 weeks. I do own the domain, so you can copy that down. And this is really so that we can take like these analog feedback and make it digital and supply it to everyone, right? Because I don't want to kind of just hold all this information we're gathering from this engagement. But yeah, I'll leave this up here for a second so everyone can write it down, copy it down, take a screenshot. And I just want to hear what you all have to tell me. Is this good? Is this terrible? Let me know.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Yeah, let's open it up. Are there questions or comments? I see Susan noted in the chat. She's a fan of what you presented, Eric, so that's great. But we'd love to get some thoughts from any others in terms of Eric's engagement plan or some of the timing.
Yeah, I did want to say that all those ideas I showed you, they all came from our residents. I'm the only one in my family who can't skate or step, but but most of my family does. But this did, I know it's shameful for being from Englewood, but this did come from our residents. So now the next idea is to test it out. But also, we won't even start this until I get the youth involved, because a lot of this will be filtered through our residents. So.
All right. No other comments or questions for Eric?
Thank you all for the feedback. Also tell me if you think something should be added or if you think something's a bad idea, this is me sitting up with me and like my little circle. I live on 61st and May, my little circle around here coming up with ideas, but I would love to get more feedback. But also in terms of that, those pull-ups, a lot of me contacting people for the pull-ups is knowing some of the residents, well, knowing a lot of residents here, but also just driving around on Saturdays and Sundays and walking up to people who I don't know, who I see out there cleaning, or to see who I see sitting out there in the morning and who I see sitting out there in the evening and asking those questions about the pull-ups. But also, I'd love for you to contact me too. And that could be, you can contact me about those pull-ups through the phone, through my phone number, or through that email address.
Hi, this is Janelle. Eric, I just want to say great job on your presentation. I love your pull-up idea with the food. Great job. Thank you.
Yeah, Janelle, you know, one of those idea for, as you were talking, we were talking on a meeting for the Inglewood Nature Trail in terms of activating spaces further west of the Nature Trail that haven't been developed yet. So these pop-ups, these are things that can go there, right? How do we engage these places that aren't usually seen by the rest of the our Chicago community who doesn't live in Inglewood, right? How can we start activating these spaces? Because we all know that, like, we know our residents and we know when something is really dope and cool and we take care of it. So how can we put something there just to let people know that we care?
Great. Well, Eric, thank you so much. Obviously more to come. We're excited to see this continue. So thank you, Eric, and thank you everyone for the comments. Well, we're right at 5 or 5:01 right now. Obviously, we've packed a lot into today, so thank you all for sticking with us. I'll pause here to see if there's any questions or comments from the group or from any of the aldermen who have joined us. If there's anything anyone would like to share, I'll pause for a moment and see if there's anything before we close. Okay. All right. I'll take everyone's silence as excitement to get out and enjoy this great weather. Oh, yes. Thank you, Susan. Great point. Our next meeting, you all should have received an invite. I think I sent it out yesterday, or maybe it was today, for our next roundtable. That will be on June 22nd, same time, same place. So Tuesday, June 22nd, 4 p.m. right here on Zoom. I also do want to just, I'll drop in the chat here a link to the site where all the materials from past roundtables will be held. So that'll hold presentation slides as well as videos of the presentations themselves. So I think we have everything through March up there now, and we'll get April and today's meeting up very shortly. So if you're looking for slides or recordings, check out that link. Otherwise, of course, the YouTube, DPD's YouTube channel does have the recordings as well. Yes, thanks, Susan. Next meeting, June 22nd. We'll continue to work on that agenda. You know, I know we've talked about a few other things that we could be addressing. You know, we've had items already queued up for the last couple of roundtables, but I think starting in June, we can start tackling some of the other items we've discussed previously. So we'll be working with the aldermen to help address that agenda. So with that, I'll ask Alderman Coleman, I see your video's on. Did you want to share anything?
Oh, I'm sorry, Lou. I couldn't hear. And I see your mouth moving, but I still can't hear.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I saw that you had turned your video on. Didn't know if you wanted to share any closing statements.
As always, thank you, everyone. I see Alderwoman Taylor has joined us, Alderman Moore, any of the other Inglewood 5 who are here. Thank you for joining us for another Invest Southwest roundtable. To Zeb and the team, we're excited and can't wait to for Englewood Ignite.
Great. Great. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alderman. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next month, June 22nd, and we'll talk to you then. Take care, everyone.